So it looks like I'm sitting in a dark cave, all wet, which is kind of true for today. It is hot here in Costa Rica today. We are having temps of 105 with the heat index where we are today in Tamarindo. And me, like a fool, I'm running around outside trying to get stuff done after I got bored. Hey, Celine, with everything going on on television with Donald Trump's arraignment, that whole arrest thing. I just wanted to run away screaming, but I couldn't look away. But it was also, my husband was like at one point going, "Are you looking at this? This is the most boring thing on the planet." I'm like, "No, I'm not looking at it, Jim. But I am kind of listening while I was doing different things. I was trying to clean the kitchen and do a bunch of other stuff. And it was a bad day to be doing that. Like I said, 105 with the heat index. And I was running around doing everything. I should have set my ass down and just watched the politics. I would have got as much done and I would have felt better. I've been kind of out of it the last couple of days and couldn't figure out why. Well, it's the heat. So I have to tell you, I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump's. I'm not a fan of the president's, the ex-president. I'm not a big fan of the president we got now. I can't say that I'm a fan of very many of these guys lately. But I'm looking at this and I'm looking at this and I'm telling my husband, it's like the reason I'm watching this is because history is being made. Bad history, unfortunately. And I'm not talking about anything he may have possibly or not possibly have done. I'm talking about the precedent it sets. Now, it's a good thing that our president, on one hand, is being held responsible for bad things that he's possibly done. No one. No, no. Molly just now had both of her channels taken down. She showed the licenses of her Airbnb customer. You can't be doing that stuff. What the hell is going on lately? It's not just me ranting about Trump because of the things he's gotten involved with. And I wanted to point out that there was stuff going way back with various presidents, but this is the kind of effery that lately that I'm thinking the bad behavior of those in power leads to this kind of nonsense. It leads to people thinking, well, I'll do that. I will just do whatever the heck I want and there'll be no consequence. No, number one fan, I didn't hear that at all, but I'm not surprised. I had a feeling that one day she was going to go too far. While I've never been against Molly Golightly, she's not my favorite person. I just don't like her style. But I know she's done some squishy things. Earlier, I was watching everybody freaking out over some things that Michelle Goes Lightly had done, Goes Live has done. And I was going, yeah, two wrongs don't make a right. I don't care how you wrap it. You know, so there's a lot that Molly's done that's kind of squishy that I worry about. I worry about because it sets dangerous precedents. That's what I was saying about what's going on with Trump, what went on in other White Houses. Oh, rock a lot. Well, I don't believe much of anything he ever says. I just want to warn you right now. He is trouble. We've all fought with him in the anti-KJ community. KJ brought him on. She brought him into the community. He's been nothing but trouble. He's threatened various people. He and I have knocked heads primarily because I believe from looking at his DD 214 he uploaded that he is possibly not been truthful about that. And I've said that. I've passed along his DD 214 to people I know still in the military. My husband is retired military intelligence. There's a lot that makes no sense about his DD 214. In fact, he doesn't have combat ribbons that go with what he's trying to claim. So let me see if I can pull up Molly. My mouse is busting right at the second. So I am going to have to, okay. Here's the thing, and I wanted to make whether you're Molly, no matter if you're Michelle Goes Lightly side, the bounds of decency and basic rules. I mean, okay, yeah, I see. Unirock is saying Molly Golightly's been terminated, and everybody else is saying that. I am not. Yeah, I'm not finding her at all, so it must be true. I know that Erin was doing a stream where she talked. Her kids' channel is still there. I'm not sure what her kids' channel is. Yeah, her channels aren't there anymore that I can find. Then again, I can't find Michelle's. Michelle must have me blocked. So this kind of goes back to this. This is one of the things why I think that people need to be held accountable for their BS. I mean, I'm not a fan of Bill Clinton's, like I've said. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden's, but God forbid they do something illegal. I'd like to see them called for it. Bill Clinton, I still want him to be prosecuted for his role in whatever he was doing with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, you all know that Jeffrey Epstein did not get the ultimate punishment because he was clearly murdered or killed himself, whichever one you happen to believe. Life coach for kids is the kids channels is still up. And Molly Golightly is supposedly a life coach, I was told. I found that very hard to believe for so many reasons. Except that I will say that life coach organizations seem to have some really out there requirements that anybody can meet. So who knows? What a day. What a day. But yet again, all of these, like I said, they're all consequences. You know, what's the phrase? You F around and you find out. Now, I understand that Michelle was also saying all this stuff earlier. I'm sorry, I just took a shower. Like I said, 105 heat index here. So I ran around like a chicken with my head cut off and then finally took a shower. And I'm sitting here in the dark, in the air conditioning, drinking a bubble water, trying to cool down now, and ate my husband's ice cream. And so I watched all the thing with Trump, and I didn't vote for him. He wasn't my choice. But here's the thing: whoever becomes president, they have to stick to basic law and order. And I don't care who the president is. I pray for them, even if it's somebody I didn't vote for. So when I see people sliding around and getting away with stuff, and do we all ever really get away with stuff? Because look here, Molly's getting booted. Hey, Grace Peter, and Molly got her channel taken. Michelle Goes Live has gotten channel after channel taken down. We're watching these people, and they never really get away with it forever. The only one that I've seen get away with stuff forever seems to be Roger Stone in the political sphere. Supported Richard Nixon. I believe he was one of Nixon's speechwriters. And the reason I keep circling back to Nixon is because the year that there was the impeachment trial, the investigation into Watergate, I think I was either 12 or 13 that summer, and I watched it. I remember that summer because, yeah, she finally got herself caught, Grace Peters. She got in trouble. And knowing Molly, I'm sure she's going to find some kind of way to weasel out of it. But then again, who knows? I'm sure she'll fight it. Isn't her husband an attorney, is my understanding? He'd probably try to take them to court over it. Now, you cannot be doxing people. And the thing is, that's so dumb about this is there's a certain YouTuber whose name I'm not going to mention that has not doxed so many people. I know I am hopping around today like a hyperactive frog with ADD on a hot skillet. But all this is just Mike and the old brain pan fire, and it's hot. It's hot as hell. And it's not been the best morning for us at our house at all. If husby's an attorney, you can think he'd have told her you can't do that. And my ADHD is following you. Yes, Grace. ADHD, most definitely. And I wasn't even diagnosed till I was in my 40s, and I was working at a clinic, and the doctors there were like, damn, you have got ADD, ADHD, big time. It's like, well, that helped me do my job the best of my ability, but it made me hop around like a frog sometimes. So we're watching all of this. We're watching all these people's channels be taken down for dumb reasons, and um, we're watching our politicians, some of them having to face the music. Now, I was curious about this today because I was curious to see exactly what would go down, how they would handle this, whether the president, the former president, would come out or be hauled out kicking and screaming, or whether he would come out and be dignified. I just did not know what was going to happen. So I was extremely curious to see that. And now this morning, looking through everybody's live streams, damn, this is like the first time I've ever agreed with Unirock on anything. Once or twice recently, he and I have agreed on a couple of things. And that's kind of an odd thing because he appeared during the whole KJ brings on the world to fight her battles thing. I was 40 in graduate school, and one of the professors said I had ADD. Yeah, isn't that funny, Cheryl? I was working at a medical clinic doing their computers and working as a social worker, and I got diagnosed. So much, yes. And once I found my diagnosis, it explained a whole lot about me to me. And now I know that if I do crafts, I have to have a box for them. I have to have a place to put it. I have to be organized. If I'm not organized in what I'm doing, and I try to stay very organized in everything. These are my prescriptions. If I stay organized, I'm fine. If I don't stay organized, you know what happens? Chaos. And I may not ever get out of the chaos. And this morning was chaos while I was trying to watch this, while I was trying to hang out clothes, garden, and do 50 trillion other things all at the same time. In the heat. Clanking machinery started happening outside, and we started looking. Our next door neighbor put up 12, count them, 12 shipping containers. They're putting in shipping container apartments, and they can see right over our wall. So we have to extend our wall again. Yeah, if I'm not intensely organized, yes, intentionally, yes, same thing. And I have to keep myself kind of to very tightly regimented things. So if you're just joining us and you're confused about why I'm hopping around, that's why, because I'm too ADD. So this sets another dangerous precedent for the country in some ways, but in some ways this is business as usual, both with what Molly's happening and what Michelle was happening and the Trump indictments. I mean, we saw this with President Nixon, got into all kinds of trouble because of the Watergate scandal that he was clearly up into to his ski nose. And he's hardly the only president that has been in scandal. There's been Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky and that whole thing. Does anybody remember the Ken Starr report? I certainly do. Then there are people that are trying to say that Stacks, yep, in the house. So for Ted, now that's our joke. Okay, the 12 shipping containers, they stack them too high. They're putting in apartments, okay. So the apartments, one set of them is going to look right over our wall at us in our house. In our house, we sit in the living room looking up, and they'll be there. That's the bad news. The good news is we're just going to have to extend our wall, the high part of our wall, another 12 feet. If we do that, that'll cut it all off. It was just the shocker. There's no such thing here as planning districts. There's not a such thing as building permits. There's none of that. People just throw this stuff up, and we're living in Tamarindo, which has gone haywire since the end of COVID. Every gringo and their brother has moved here. Housing prices have tripled. Rental prices have tripled. So they're throwing up all these apartments and no, like crazy. So that's why this is going on. And I know it's a money grab. We talked about it ourselves. We've been trying to buy some property directly abutting ours. We have bought some. We've bought some across the street. I've been thinking about expanding the wall and extending out. Now I'm kind of wondering if I shouldn't put in apartments or house and rent them out. So there's that. A lot going on. A lot going on. Hey, T King. A lot going on. Hey, Ted, what do you think? You think we ought to send the slee stacks out for all the corrupt politicians? Because I'm starting to look at it right now and think that might actually be a solution, a weird solution, but it would be a solution based that would be better than anything else going on right now. So I hate to sound like the world's oldest lady, but in the olden days, people didn't do this. And then I'm going to say, no, they always did. There have always been presidential scandals. A lot of times they've been hidden. It's been interesting seeing some of the things that have been hidden, like JFK getting so stoned that he would complain that he was too stoned to push a button to send the bomb. There's always been something like that. The equivalent to our governor just moved down there after his horrendous, damaging run in politics. It's never a good sign when those that are responsible don't want to live with their consequences. If it makes you feel any better, Grace Peter, Trudeau from Canada has a vacation place here just up the hill. I see them on the beach. I see him on the beach in his board shorts, and he's not a bad looking sight, no matter how awful of a politician he may be or may not be. They're currently training for these maneuvers in a secret, secure location. Oh my word. The other day I sat down and wrote a ton of Sleestack fan fiction because I've gotten stymied on my writing. And a dear friend the other day saw a piece I wrote and he said, "Why didn't you have me edit this?" And I said, "Well, first of all, I'm writing for a particular population. Okay. So I didn't really need that. What I had to say in the way I said it works for them." Yeah, you're right. He's good looking and great hair and abs, and he surfs. So of course, I'm going to be out there on the beach looking at all the old, all the hot looking surfer guys sometimes, going, I'm a grandmother, but I'm going to look. Oh, so there's that. And I'm laughing way more than I ever dreamed I was going to after watching those shipping containers go in and after watching that horrible show of Trump's arrest and indictment. Now, I'm going to compliment some people here. The NYPD, they handled this well. They handled it well. There was no violence. Nothing happened. And in a jurisdiction like NYC, that's something of a miracle. He did legalize the grain. Yeah. Oh, not stalking him, just staring at him. It's on the beach, and I'm out there. Nixon's VP, Spiro Agnew, was in so much legal trouble he had to leave office before Nixon did. Yes, Cheryl, he sure did. And the thing is, this stuff goes way back. Some of the stuff that's done in the past in politics. Does anyone remember Warren G. Harding and the Teapot Dome scandal? I think Harding was the one that had the girlfriend that had a baby out of wedlock when he was married to somebody else. There have just been scandals going way back. I can't remember who all it was, but one of the politicians from back in the 1800s, not anybody that ran for president, but somebody was a congressman. It was like, Ma, where's my paw? Gone to the White House, haul. Canada's first prime minister was such a raving alcoholic. He was shoot peas at the opposition to parliament. Well, at least he gets something done that way. So what I'm trying to say is our history is full of this weirdness. Just full of it. There's all these guys that have done these horrible things. And somehow it works out in the end. And we managed to keep moving forward, and things work out. And I guess that's how I'm looking at it today. Harding was president when you were in middle school. Please, president when you were in middle school. Then Ugg the caveman must have been president when I was, because it was a long time ago. Spiro had the occasional good turn of phrase. Remember the nabobs of negativity? I do remember that. He had interesting turns of phrase. That's the Grover Cleveland song, and he was president twice. Oh, yes, he was. I was thinking of something. There was one I was thinking of earlier, and I can't remember now. That goes way back to like the late 1700s, where someone had come up with a catchy little jingle, and somebody else had a rebuff. So there's all kinds of things. And then we have people like Abraham Lincoln that there's no real scandal connected to, but somebody came along and killed them. Here goes my husband. He's been off working out in this heat. I mean, I can't understand that. He's been working out. He's getting a he's getting a massage on the beach. He's running around in the heat, and me, I am in here in the AC, eating ice cream, drinking bubbled water, sweating. Sweating so much. The Grover Cleveland song. Yeah, so many of these guys. And I look at this and I try to figure out, why would that be? I think it's because to run for president, you have to have a fair amount of egotism to begin with. Not saying that's good or bad, it's just a fact. Hey, Eden, you moving back to Costa Rica? You lived in Nicoya before Hako was popular. Any suggestions for quiet beaches? Nowhere near anywhere there. Okay, Eden, um I'm going to suggest anything south of Tamarindo. Okay, any place south of Tamarindo, south of Langosta, it's going to be pretty quiet. Tamarindo has gone on steroids. It is insane. Housing prices have tripled, rentals have tripled. It's I've never seen anything like it. Flamingo, they dug out a huge deep water harbor there now, and rents have gone crazy there. There's still some places north of us that are north of like Las Ventanas and Playa Donta that are still nice, but there aren't many, and they're few and far between. I was looking at Las Catalinas at their offerings the other day, and was just having sticker shock at the prices on the condos, because I was telling my husband, wouldn't it be nice to live here in a little condo in what looks like a European stone village? And then I saw the prices and thought, well, you're what, almost an hour from the auto mercado? No, that doesn't work for me. I have to be closer to that, to a decent grocery store. So there's a lot of people in Vetia Siete de Abril, which is still pretty nice. And here's the problem, Eden. More and more people are moving here all the time from the States and from Canada, and really just flooding the place where around here where rents are going up. And I'm seeing other communities where this saying, if you're looking to come to Costa Rica, move someplace super cheap, Copa de Delta is where I would say, because that's where we live for a while. They're renting houses for $100 and $150, $200 a month. And I mean, that's just an insane price. Locals will soon be the minority. Well, that's why I think they're putting these places up next to us, is because it's currently gotten where local people cannot afford to rent here. I'm hearing more and more of them that I'm friends with that are telling me, they're having to move out. They can no longer afford to live in the community. And how do you work in a community when you can't afford to live there? You just can't. Puerto Jimenez, maybe so. One of the ones I was thinking of was Playa Blanca is one of them, and I can't even think of the name of the other one. Playa Negra. Playa Negra is actually still reasonable and quite nice. If I could talk my husband into buying the townhouse in Playa Negra, it would have been perfect because you had a view of the beach right from the townhouse and from every room of the house. But he didn't want to deal with stairs, and I don't want to deal with stairs any longer. Regarding Michelle's goes live and Molly go lightly, it's like putting lipstick on a pig. That could well be. That could well be. I'm looking for a Rhodes Scholar tour. See, a slower place, a certain time of the year. Okay. Anytime after like the beginning of May, well, actually, like mid-April on to like mid-June is nice. It's rainy season, but it's not raining quite so hard yet. There aren't as many tourists here. Tourists are cleared out. September, October, you can get super cheap tickets, but you're going to deal with the rain. That's the rainiest time of the year. Her Airbnb listing has been removed, and she is being investigated by them because of what she did. She recently got 2 strikes, and today she got 2 more strikes. I think that she's going to get more if she keeps this up. I think she was feeling big and bad and powerful. And there's a certain creator, I don't want to talk about her name, who I think is also feeling big and powerful right now, just based on her social media. But I think she's going to get spanked soon. I keep watching and waiting, even though I don't talk about her anymore because it's just too jarring on one's soul. You can't do dirty business like that and expect to stay in business. I don't know what's going to happen with her. I know she's been on, was it Wife Swap and some show about the lives of prostitutes. And I just thought that was kind of strange. She's just never been my favorite because she shows up like at Brian Laundrie's parents' house screaming and hollering. Now, while I'm no happier with Brian Laundrie's family than she was, I wasn't about to show up on their doorstep and scream and holler and cry on their sidewalk. I mean, those people are in a horrible spot, regardless of how culpable they may or may not be. I don't know. I keep seeing that the mother had written this very incriminating letter to Brian that he has. And if that's the case, the poor little girl's family should be getting every penny, because that's crazy. That is just some crazy stuff. So one takeaway from today is it was incredibly boring watching all this unfold and watching CNN, Fox, CNBC, and everybody else just flap their gums trying to make stuff up while we were waiting, which I don't appreciate. And I think that's one of the things that I don't like about some of the people who are covering some of these people, mountains out of molehills. She's got her own LOL Cal community now. I'm sure she has her own anti-Reddit too. I'm sure Reddit is doing a number on her. Does she have a Kiwi Farms sub community there? It's a community. It's a community where they pretty much just rag on various people. And I'm sure that there's going to be some other places they're going to have a blast with it. My son didn't know about a creator I was talking about until he went, "Oh, is this the lady they're talking about wearing a diaper on Kiwi Farms?" And I was like, "Yes." So I'm anticipating we're going to see a lot more people from YouTube wearing that. Now, the thing that was interesting to me about Michelle today is that all these anti-Michelle community people were having these long videos today. And I'm just slapping myself in the head because it's not that interesting. There's not that much to talk about. Michelle behaves poorly. And even if you cataloged every insult and problem, it just doesn't take that much time. But I'm guessing there's a lot I don't get about the way that people sometimes handle their lives and some of the things they do and the way they handle their live streams. Shanny for Christ got replaced by her. Oh, goodness. I wouldn't have thought that at all. Now, there are a lot of creators that people go nuts on that I don't watch. My son watches Foodie Beauty, and he also watches one where this really pathetic guy, I shouldn't even say that, this really unusual young man who just gets super drunk and gets people to Venmo him, well, have beer dropped off to his house and food and various things while he plays video games and runs his mouth. And my son was here showing me that stuff. I was just like, I don't understand what the attraction is. I don't watch that stuff. It doesn't bugs me. That bugs me. But that is shocking news about Molly. Because here's the thing with Molly and some of the other ones that I know are huger YouTubers. Once you've got enough of an audience built up from what I've seen on YouTube, this is just an observation. This isn't, don't don't take this to the bank. But my observation is if you have a pretty good sized audience, you have to flub up pretty hard to make YouTube take your channel away. It has to be something so egregious that maybe you would go to jail before they'll take the channel away. And I'm not talking about people that try to play by the rules and try to get regular YouTube hit money. King Cobra, yes, King Cobra. My son showed me King Cobra back in November when he was here, and he showed me King Cobra when I was there in June, and we were watching this. It was like Friday Night Freaks, and I'm like, because I have Sunday morning freaks that I watch. All my freaks are first thing on Sunday morning. So I tried to make him watch my freaks. He tried to make me watch his, and my freaks are relatively harmless and not very freaky. Stuff like Kelsey of 7 to 4 Gear and Dr. ER, which is Dr. Jordan Wagner. He's a pretty funny guy. I dearly love to laugh. So if I can laugh and learn a little something, that's it. But King Cobra, yes, he was having people sending him food. Some went to her instead. Foodie Beauty seems to have her bring her own drama with her. And watching some of these reality shows, and people are trying to drag me into some of that, or I'm on Reddit, and Reddit is saying, because you look at Love After Lockup, here's the 90-day fiance community. Here is the teen mom community. Here's the community around Real Housewives of Texarkana, Arkansas, or whatever. And I'm just looking at that going, I'm not interested in all of that. I just want to know if the trans lady with the pink Muppet-like fur coat, no pants, and the lingerie top that got into the fight with the 350-pound woman. I just want to know what happened. Okay. And I want to know if her boyfriend, little Derek, is still out of prison. So that's one thing that is kind of irritating about Reddit is they will try to suggest all kinds of crazy communities to you. And lately I have gone looking. There is an anti-Molly one there. I believe. And they sometimes mention Michelle Goes Live. So it's all very interesting how people who are incredibly poorly behaved turn around and live deals with them. Now, Michelle was saying earlier today, and I didn't see it live because she's got me blocked, that she had turned over a new leaf and she's trying to be sober. And as you've heard me talk about her before, I hope she stays sober. But then she was turning around and texting Ski Mask Andy and doxing people on other people's channels. So it is what it is. Eventually, you might get away with that crap for a while. I'm talking about Molly. I'm talking about Trump. I'm talking about all the poorly behaved people that do this stuff. But eventually, it's going to catch up with you. And when it does, you're going to get spanked. I mean, that is what it is. You're going to get spanked and have to go on down the line. Okay, I got to go. I got to talk to that man. We got to talk about how soon we can get the guy out here to put up another 8 feet of fence or so, because I do not want those apartments being able to look over and see me sprawled on the sofa in my chair watching Love After Lockup in this horrible heat. Love you guys. Have a good day. Try not to take anything that's going on in any of these communities and or politics seriously. It's kind of like a big bread and circuses at this point. That's about all I can say of it. Just get your enjoyment while you can, but don't take it seriously. Love you guys.